they would have had to take blood because he was pretty badly hurt.
Oh, okay.
They may have breathalyzed him in the hospital. I'm not sure. They took us all to separate hospitals.
Yeah, but you could still take blood. Why did they take y'all to all separate hospitals?
That I don't know. That I don't know.
Because I thought if it happens in one area, you have to go to the nearest hospital.
Interesting.
So I didn't. That's interesting that they took you all three, or all three of you to different hospitals. What about the people in the other car?
I believe they went to different hospitals too.
That's interesting. I wonder why that. Don't know. Anyways, that's interesting though. That's something to think about.
Right.
But so even if they took blood, they would have been able to know what his alcohol level was.
Exactly.
So was it over the limit?
It was over the limit.
I thought y'all only had one beer. Were you drinking before that day?
Well,
or he was?
we had, when we got to the bar and had a beer, we'd split up, so I don't know what he had to drink.
Oh.
I'd offered to drive when we left, just having the one myself, but he told me it was fine, and I thought that was enough for me. He seemed coherent to me, so
right.
I didn't think there'd be any problem in going to get something to eat and then going home and to bed.
And I think that's a good point, because I think a lot of people who drink and they say, okay, I had one beer, I had 2 beers, I'm fine, I can drive. No, I really am fine. And you as a friend trust that they are fine and that nothing's going to happen, and they seem fine, they're walking fine, they're talking fine, and then a split second and something happens.
Exactly.
Now, there's no way to know why that person didn't yield in the other car, right?
Well, they were also way over the limit as well.
So they had been drinking as well.
Right. So it was a very tricky case. Very tricky case.
So why did your friend, the driver, get put in jail? What was he accused of, first of all?
I believe it was originally second-degree murder.
Ooh.
They may have dropped it down to manslaughter.
Okay, why did he get put in jail, though, if both drivers were drinking?
Right.
This person was out at fault for not yielding.
Exactly.
Why did it all go on him?
Well, yeah, like you say, the accident report shows that the Corvette had failed to yield. And we were heading southbound on this particular street, and it T-boned him. But the particular state we were in looked at it like, well, we have a dead kid in one hand and a guy with a previous DUI in the other hand. So they're not going to let that go no matter who's at fault. They don't even care, really. Because you have a dead young man, and then you have somebody else who has a previous DUI and shouldn't have been drinking, period, no matter if this other person slammed it in reverse and came up and hit them. It doesn't matter.
So do you think that it would have had the same outcome had he not had a previous DUI? Just your personal opinion.
That's a very good question.
Do you think that was the deciding factor? Was that
it might have, because there's still the dead kid in the other hand. So something has to kind of counterbalance that. You know, he can't be charged.
Right.
He's lost his life, so he's paid the ultimate price.
Right.
You know.
And your friend got how many years?
I think he had 25.
And how long ago was this?
This was about 5 years ago.
25. And how old was he at the time?
He was 27, I dare say.
Oh my gosh. So think of it, he's spending half his life, by the time he gets out, it's going to be in jail because of this one thing.
Yeah, and he has a smashing young kid too.
Oh, that's so sad. I mean, one split-second decision. So what was the thing that you learned the most from this, you personally?
Well, Jessica, one thing I have to tell you is that not a day goes by. Like, if there's a time when I'm laying awake in bed, I'll always think about, A, my friend who's in prison, and also, you know, his kid playing t-ball without him or whatever. I always think about that, and I also think about the mother of that poor kid in a Corvette.
Right.
You know, although I feel like, you know, I know I didn't hit him, and it was a terrible accident with 2 people drinking. I still just wish there was something I could have done, you know. I just feel like, you know, I just
How long did it take you to get past the guilty stage?
I still feel guilty. I still wonder, you know, I know his mother's never going to get over it.
Right.
She's lost her son, you know, so, I mean, that must be, I don't speak from experience, but that must be the most horrible ordeal to ever have to go through right there, to lose your own flesh and blood for a mother, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. But there's, you know, and it's hard to think of in such a tragedy what good can come out of it. What good, if anything, do you think's come out of it?
Well, I mean, I'm not here to take sides on either vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
None of us should have been there.
Right.
None of us. The only good that can come out of that is if somebody can listen to what I'm saying, mm-hmm. and be a frog hair away from being blind, having your eyelids sewn back on.
Mm. That is very close.
Right. If one thing that could come out of this for the better, it'd be just for people who are drinking and driving and they're getting away with it, and they think, oh, that's fine, if they just stop. There's no party, there's no girl's phone number, there's no little dance move that's worth it. There's just not. Everybody gets caught in the end, some way or another. You're either going to be scarred for life, you're either going to go to jail, or you're going to be dead.
But I think what's important, Joe, is that this is something that could literally happen to anybody, because so many people go out there and they drink, and so many people have just one drink, just two drinks, and they think, okay, but I'm fine, I really can drive, I really can drive. And then literally in a split second, this happens. I mean, this is one of those things people always say, that can never happen to me. This is something that can, especially with so many people out there drinking, just a drink, just two drinks, thinking, okay, it's no big deal. Taxis, designated driver. I know when you're young, especially, you think you're invincible and you think that this can't happen, and you don't want to be the designated driver. You want to be having fun with all your friends. But in the end, it's one night of, you know, drinking with your friends is not worth the rest of your life.
And as you get a little older, you realize you don't have to be drunk to have fun. You know, you really don't. I know how square that may sound to somebody younger, but you don't. That's, you know, if you're comfortable with yourself and be responsible for your own actions, there's nothing that can beat that.
And I think that's so true.
It is.
As you get older, when you're younger, we're never going to be able to convince the young people of that. But I definitely think as you get older, you're secure with yourself, and you think, no, I don't have to drink just because everybody else is drinking. I don't have to, you know, go with the peer pressure. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing that. And I know that you are affecting other people just by sharing that.
Well, I hope so.
Thank you.
Listens. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions about Joe or what we talked about, you can email me in the email that will follow. Everyone, please remember that we don't need to drink to have fun. And if you are drinking, do not drive. Do not drive, because this can happen to you. This can be one of those instances that changes the rest of your life. And you can just call a taxi to get a ride somewhere or designate a driver. Thanks. Have a good day.